the cameras flashed, the crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Oh, absolutely. But, behind the glittering pink carpets and the picture-perfect smiles, a multi-million-dollar war was brewing.
Yeah, and the spark that lit the match. A husband trying to save his wife's movie.
Exactly.
While everyone turned on Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds did this.
It's such a crazy story.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today we're jumping into a massive deep dive on the explosive behind-the-scenes drama of that $309 million blockbuster, It Ends With Us.
Right. And for this deep dive, we are pulling from everywhere. I'm talking court documents, unsealed text messages, body language experts, and Hollywood insiders.
Because the mission here is to really separate that digital illusion of a perfect Hollywood marriage from, well, the gritty, high-stakes reality.
Which is actually a $160 million legal battle.
It's wild. And the craziest part is that they almost got away with creating this perfect facade,
Yeah, they really did.
If you look closely at how they engineered the narrative, it's basically a masterclass in public relations completely colliding with a catastrophic legal reality.
And that collision started right out in the open, right? Disguised as this huge cinematic triumph.
Exactly.
What audiences thought was an improvised, breathtakingly acted scene in the movie was actually secretly rewritten by a superhero husband stepping way out of his lane.
Completely out of his lane. But to understand how bizarre that is, you really have to look at the camouflage they used first.
Oh, for sure. Let's go back to August 6, 2024, the New York City world premiere of It Ends With Us.
Right, the pink carpet.
Yeah. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are there, and the public displays of affection are just off the charts.
I know, they were putting on a clinic and presenting a flawless marriage. She had this tender arm around her waist. She was touching his cheek.
But it was all totally strategic, wasn't it?
Completely. Every single element of that night was weaponized for PR, right down to the wardrobe.
Right, the dress.
Yeah. Lively wore Britney Spears' iconic 2002 vintage Versace dress. That gorgeous one-shoulder style with the sequined floral detail.
But wait, celebrities wear vintage dresses to premieres all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this specific dress a PR weapon and not just like a nice fashion tribute?
Well, because in Hollywood, wardrobe is used to subconsciously manipulate audience empathy.
Oh, interesting.
By wearing that exact dress, Lively was anchoring herself to the narrative of the ultimate pop culture survivor, Britney Spears.
Ah, I see.
So it was this dual tribute, honoring her character, Lily Bloom, who survives abuse, while aligning herself with Britney. She even went on Instagram to thank Britney for inspiring millennial women.
Wow, so it completely deflected from the extremely heavy, dark themes of the actual movie.
Exactly. It wrapped the whole event in the shiny, nostalgic girl power bow.
And Reynolds played right into that, too. He wore a pink boutonniere to match the theme, playing the ultimate supportive husband.
Right, the perfect accessory.
And Lively returned the favor by heavily promoting his movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, during her own press tour. She even posted a video pointing out all his millennial references.
Yeah, like Deadpool doing the NSYNC Bye 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 dance and the Avril Lavigne music.
And when a fan commented about divorce rumors on her Instagram, she casually shut it down with a simple, "Ha, they wish."
It just looked impenetrable.
It really did, until the film's screenwriter, Christy Hall, gave an interview that just cracked the foundation.
Yeah, that was the turning point. Hall admitted that Ryan Reynolds secretly wrote the trickiest, longest rooftop scene in the movie.
Which is a huge deal.
It is. Hall originally tried to honor Colleen Hoover's novel word for word, but the scene was notoriously difficult to adapt, and when she saw the final cut, she noticed dialogue flourishes she never even wrote.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Sure, go for it.
Ryan Reynolds is a massive A-list star, right? He's a proven writer and a producer. Isn't it, totally normal for a Hollywood heavyweight to punch up a script or give some creative notes to help his wife's project succeed?
Well, giving notes is normal. Secretly rewriting a key scene without consulting the credited screenwriter or the director, that is a massive breach of industry protocol.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. You have to understand how a film set operates. A script gets locked before production. The Writers Guild of America has incredibly strict rules about who gets credit and who is allowed to change dialogue.
Oh, right. The WGA does not mess around with that.
Exactly. So for a spouse to swoop in, rewrite a pivotal scene, and have the lead actress perform it without the screenwriter knowing until the premiere.
Yeah, that's wild.
It severely undermines the director's authority and totally disrespects the writer's domain.
Which brings us to a fascinating piece of body language analysis from a few months later.
Oh, the April 2025 premiere.
Yes, the New York premiere of Another Simple Favor. A body language expert, Judy James, noted that Lively had this almost hypnotic effect over Reynolds on the red carpet.
It was so strange to watch.
Right. James described Reynolds as obedient, while Lively used what she called a hand of possession. She was literally winding him up with directive hand signals to hit his camera poses.
James actually compared it to sticking his nose into a human hand propeller, which is such a funny visual.
It is, but psychologically it's deeply telling.
Yeah, because when you combine him obediently posing on command with him secretly rewriting her movie, the power dynamic shifts. It goes from a supportive partnership to something highly controlled and synchronized.
It makes me think of a carefully choreographed stage play, you know?
Oh, totally.
You sit in the audience and the actors look perfectly in sync, getting every mark flawlessly. But if you look closely, you realize someone is secretly pulling all the strings from the wings, just dictating every movement.
Exactly. And that desire for control didn't just stay on the red carpet. I mean, it spilled directly into the editing room and the production offices.
Which is where this story goes from a minor creative overstep to an alleged corporate shadow war.
It gets so dark.
Before we get into that, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead.
You definitely don't want to miss what's coming.
So, tensions reportedly exploded on set when Ryan Reynolds started reviewing the daily footage.
And for you listening, daily footage or dailies are the raw, unedited takes filmed that day.
Right.
Usually only the director, the editor, and a few key producers review these to ensure they got the shots they needed.
So for a spouse who is not producing or directing the film to sit in and review dailies is highly irregular.
It is practically unheard of. I mean, it is the equivalent of a CEO's husband sitting in on a private corporate board meeting and reviewing the quarterly financials.
Wow, yeah, that really puts it in perspective.
It changes the entire atmosphere on set.
Uh-huh.
And according to claims brought to light by commentators like Candace Owens, who cited an on-set source, this led to a massive confrontation.
Right inside Blake Lively's trailer.
Exactly.
And after that argument, Reynolds allegedly began appearing on set frequently, influencing production decisions and altering scenes.
He was just everywhere.
But again, to push back a little,
Yeah.
they were dealing with a massive financial success. The film had a modest $25 million budget, but grossed $309 million worldwide.
Huge numbers.
If you are Reynolds and your wife is starring in what is becoming her most successful venture, aren't you just protecting a lucrative investment?
Well, protecting an investment is one thing. Staging a hostile takeover is another.
Fair point.
Reynolds allegedly offered millions of dollars of his own money to buy out director Justin Baldoni's stake in the franchise entirely.
Let's break down the mechanics of a buyout like that, because you can't just hand a director a check and tell him to leave his own movie, right?
Actually, in Hollywood, you kind of can if you apply enough pressure.
Really?
Yeah. Baldoni owned the rights through his production company, Wayfarer Studios. By offering a massive cash buyout, Reynolds was essentially trying to force Baldoni to surrender all creative control and future franchise rights.
But money alone didn't work, did it?
No, it didn't. So the tactics allegedly escalated to corporate leverage.
And this is where the power dynamics get absolutely ruthless. Reynolds reportedly gave an ultimatum to WME, one of the top talent agencies in the world. The biggest of the big. Right. And the catch. WME represented both Justin Baldoni and Taylor Swift.
And Taylor, as you probably know, is famously close friends with Blake and Ryan.
Oh, yeah. So following this alleged pressure, Baldoni was actually dropped by WME.
And if you are wondering how a talent agency makes a decision like that, it is just pure cold math.
Follow the money.
Exactly. Agencies make their money on percentages. You weigh the commission you make off a mid-level director against the hundreds of millions you make off a global megastar like Taylor Swift.
Plus the influence of a heavyweight like Ryan Reynolds.
Right. Baldoni never stood a chance. He was reportedly blackballed.
It's just wild. Reynolds even reportedly mocked Baldoni's character in the film Nice Pool and heavily influenced premiere placements to ice him out.
And the irony of this entire situation is staggering.
It really is. At what point does a supportive spouse become a hostile corporate raider, you know?
Seriously. Because while Reynolds was allegedly orchestrating this ruthless boardroom takeover behind the scenes, the public was tearing Blake Lively apart.
Oh, man, during the press tour, audiences turned on her completely.
They really did. She was heavily criticized for her tone, with people accusing her of mishandling the film's core themes of domestic abuse.
Yeah. She was pushing floral dresses and hair care lines while deflecting serious questions. It led to a massive wave of online cancellation.
So the public is canceling her for being insensitive, totally unaware that her husband is systematically dismantling the film's director in the shadows.
But that shadow war eventually dragged them all into a federal courtroom.
Yes, it did.
If you think the set drama was intense, just wait. Later in this deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw, coming unsealed text messages, and a lawsuit that has Ryan Reynolds terrified.
So stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because this legal battle is about to get explosive.
So let's get into the lawsuit. December 2024.
Right.
Blake Lively sued Justin Baldoni, accusing him of sexual harassment, defamation, and retaliation. She claimed he orchestrated a smear campaign against her to damage her reputation.
And Baldoni didn't retreat. He and Wayfarer Studios countersued Lively and Reynolds for defamation and extortion.
Extortion?
Yeah. Baldoni's legal team argued that Lively was weaponizing exaggerated charges of sexual misconduct, which they called minor grievances, specifically to cast him as a villain and seize control of the movie.
Wow. Now that countersuit was eventually dismissed by a judge. But the real earthquake happened recently.
They sure did.
A federal judge in Manhattan, Judge Louis J. Lamon, dismissed 10 of Lively's 13 claims. And most crucially, he threw out the sexual harassment charges.
Which completely alters the narrative. You have to understand why this matters from a legal standpoint.
Right. Explain that for us.
Well, in a federal court, proving sexual harassment requires a very specific, incredibly high burden of evidence under employment law.
It's not just about a bad vibe.
Exactly. It has to be pervasive and severe enough to alter the conditions of employment. Proving retaliation or a breach of contract is entirely different. It relies on paperwork, emails, and timelines.
So by throwing out the sexual harassment claims, the judge essentially removed the most explosive, reputation-destroying element of Lively's lawsuit.
Pretty much, yeah.
What remains for the May 2026 trial are retaliation and breach of contract claims.
Right.
But the legal process itself triggered a bomb nobody saw coming.
The texts.
Yes. During discovery, private text messages from Ryan Reynolds were unsealed and made public.
This is the exact moment the digital illusion shattered.
Absolutely. The text showed Reynolds fiercely defending Lively to industry executives. In a July 2024 exchange, he literally called Baldoni a predatory fraudster and an inexplicably toxic mess.
And in another text during the film's opening weekend, Reynolds was furious that Lively was dealing with online rumors instead of celebrating.
Yeah, he wrote that Lively willed this weekend into reality and complained she was being painted as controlling.
Now, his representative came out swinging, telling the press what husband wouldn't support his wife.
Right. They claimed Ryan felt he wasn't angry enough.
And honestly, most people would aggressively defend their spouse in private texts. So why is this considered such a massive disaster for him?
It's because of the psychological split between his public brand and his private reality.
Oh, exactly.
Publicly, Reynolds went on television for a Sunday sit-down live interview and sounded like a philosopher. He warned the public about the digital illusion versus real life.
He was laying it on thick.
He said, "I have never in my life been more proud of my wife. People have no idea what is really going on." It was this beautifully crafted soundbite designed to make him look elevated and untouchable.
But behind closed doors, entertainment insiders report a totally different reality. Yeah. Reynolds is allegedly in a state of panic, urging Lively to settle the case and back down before the 2026 trial.
Because he is on her witness list.
Yes. He is terrified of having to testify under oath in a federal court.
For someone who meticulously controls his image, a deposition is the ultimate nightmare.
It really is.
You can't charm your way out of a federal deposition. You sit in a room for hours while opposing lawyers dissect every text, every email, every conversation you had on set.
There is no script, and there is no PR team to save you.
Exactly. He is deeply worried that this messy, escalating lawsuit will destroy his carefully crafted, lovable Deadpool brand.
The digital illusion he warned the public about was actually the exact illusion he built to protect his own empire.
Wow, that is so true.
He constructed the facade of the flawless power couple, and now the unsealed texts and the looming threat of the witness stand are tearing it down piece by piece.
It brings us right back to the beginning. The flashes, the smiles, the perfect vintage dress on the pink carpet. It really was a stage play.
And it makes you rethink the mechanics of every single celebrity relationship you see online.
Yeah, it does.
If the ultimate Hollywood power couple can have their entire empire threatened because a husband wanted too much control over a movie set, it proves that you can never really trust the narrative being sold to you.
Consider your own perception of couple goals. When a powerful spouse steps in to professionally protect their partner, where exactly is the line between loving support and toxic control?
It's a really fine line.
It is. And if a narrative this meticulously crafted can collapse under the weight of unsealed court documents, what does that mean for the authenticity of any celebrity story we consume?
Something to definitely mull over.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.